let me introduce you our research and security by design development methodology for file hosting case. With development of web technologies and increase of internet coverage, number of companies using various web applications for promotion has increased. Such applications have become one of the main tools for sale of products and services. In these circumstances, difficulties in ensuring security are stated since the greater functionality and complexity of the system lead to increased number of vulnerabilities. According to Positive Technology Statistics, number of attacks have increased compared to previous years and has reached 68%. The most common vulnerabilities are associated with insufficient authorization, ability to download or read arbitrary files, as well as the ability to embed SQL code. As for about the relevance of the problem of the topic, and as all these problems can be avoided by designing and implementing security mechanisms at the development stage. This is a more modern approach compared to the classical security approach, which involves taking security measures into account after putting the system into operation, and as a rule using many proprietary solutions, which in turn greatly complicates security management. The aim of the work is to create a file hosting application using security to design development methodology. To achieve the aim, there were several tasks to reach: to define the principles of security by design approach, to develop file hosting application based on the security by design approach, estimate and analyze features, advantages and disadvantages of method, and present a comparative analysis of methods to counter the cybersecurity threats in various approaches to the system design. Security by design approach involves consideration of security problems at all stages of system lifecycle and implementation of security mechanisms in it with the minimum required number of third-party solutions. But the responsibilities for ensuring security is entirely on developers, so there is a need for their appropriate qualifications, which increases cost of development in early stages, but decreases spending on cybersecurity in the future. On the slide are shown the main principles of SBD approach. The developed system is a file hosting with web interface based on its server. The main purpose of such system is to create application using SBD method and its principles. Application is created using open source cross-platform environment Node.js in the Visual Studio Code IDE. Main elements of web application are presented in table on the slide. The main feature of the developed system is the approach that is used as the base of development process. The alternative security tactics and patterns are first thought, but in comparison to the original method, the used tactics and functions were modified. The aim of such modifications was to guarantee secure use and storage of information. The developed system merges two approaches: standard solution and SBD approach. Creation of secure and fulfill application needs implementation of measures that can protect the system but not make it complicated. Therefore, during the work, we used methods from SBD approach that can definitely protect our system. For example, to save confidential data, we used only data encryption during transmission, while in SBD approach, data is encrypted not only during transmission but also on the server. Currently, university-based learning involves a combination of the physical and digital class handouts combined with communal online platforms. But implementation of such technologies is not easy task. When it comes to data storage on electronic devices, not all given solutions can be used. Traditional systems cannot have high level of security that is needed to store special documents such as intellectual property or personal information. Here is the interface of developed web application. To check reliability of the application, several tests were implemented. Tests were made using Kali Linux, and there were implemented next tests, which are presented on the slide. For example, Metasploit helps to verify vulnerabilities, manage security assessments, and improve security awareness. A WASP Zap is a tool to examine HTTP requests and responses. Such instruments can help to find vulnerabilities such as missing headers, tokens, and also it finds SQL injections and XSS. Plugins were also used as Picta and HMAP. Picta is searching for vulnerable references, and HMAP identifies web server and its parameters. W3F is a tag and audit framework aimed to test and exploit web application vulnerabilities. To scan the system, we use the console and its main plugins, audit, crawl, infrastructure, and output. And also you can see OWASP scanning report for our web application. So the main results of the work are presented on the slide. Web application using the SBD approach was modeled. The modeling process showed that the narrow tasks the SBD approach should be modified. However, the general principles of the security methods remained unchanged. The performed research identified evolution and development tendencies and obtained research findings and outcomes enable us to make the following conclusions. Developed application was created using security through obscurity approach. Web application is a file hosting service that gives opportunity to store and share files collaborated on projects. Such application can be introduced in smart university system to ensure data communication among students and lecturers. The security of such tool guarantees safe store of important data and files. And besides, we can look through different versions of document, which is very useful when we work with the project together in group. Leading universities try to create systems to store and share data using own local hosts, and developed application can be investigated as one of them, but with assurance of its security and reliability. Next generation of smart university systems should pay more attention to implementation of smartness abilities of product and tools. Also, security by design approach can be used to create applications and provide high level of security. So as for about the next steps, which are planned, they are presented also on the slide, and they include the application which will be developed further to make it user-friendly and easy to use and also multi-language. And developed application will be investigated as smart technology in university studying process, as I've already said to control versions of project, for example, and to see what changes were made during this or that step of working on the project. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, you can send them on my email, which is written on this slide.